It always seem to come back to the San Francisco 49ers in regards to all these quarterback rumors and speculation. And even before I was about to get on here, we have another rumor kind of percolating as it has been clear that there is a quarterback being shopped by a different team, but is now potentially being linked to the San Francisco 49ers. Why is it that every quarterback is linked to the Niners? We're going to get into it all right now. You already know the vibes. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. First of all, how are we doing, Sourdough Squad? Hopefully, you guys are having a phenomenal Tuesday. It's only Tuesday, and the rumors are spinning already regarding the San Francisco 49ers potential trades. Oh boy, it's a lot. If you've been a fan of the San Francisco 49ers since 2017. Well, before 2017, would you say, yeah, for a while now? You might even go back to the Harbaugh era. It is rumor central, but there's always one constant. It's always the San Francisco 49ers. Have we noticed that? Whether it's big time players or quarterbacks, Tom Brady we were being told by Mike Florio last year that Tom Brady was going to be a San Francisco 49er. He was adamant that Tom Brady was going to be wearing San Francisco 49ers gear just an off season ago. Well, it's still kicking up. And so, like I said, right as I was hopping on, I saw another one. And so the reason why I want to talk about it, let's talk about the rumors, and then we'll talk about why the 49ers are always linked to these rumors. We had a radio host go on live television today to basically say that if the Aaron Rodgers trade with the Jets for some reason falls through, the San Francisco 49ers are going to be standing right there with a deal ready to go get Aaron Rodgers. Okay. If you listen to the clip, I actually just posted it on YouTube. The guy really says a whole lot of nothing. All it is speculation. It's an idea. It's a thought process. It's like my Brian Byrne. It would be like me going on to a nationally syndicated radio show and being like, the San Francisco 49ers are really interested in trading for Brian Burns because I said so. It's pretty much what it comes down to. But then but it was with Mark Schlereth. I don't really know who this guy was. I don't even remember his name, respectfully. But I respect Mark Schlereth and what he provides to the football commentary world. And he was he was in that conversation as well. So it's just one of these things where, as we know, if you're a fan of the San Francisco 49ers, you're going to have to weed through all this conversation, because before that Aaron Rodgers thing popped up, it's been heavily circulated this week about the San Francisco 49ers and the Kyle Shanahan, Kirk Cousin trade rumors were getting hot and heavy at the NFL scouting combine, which, is going on over a month ago. But it is picking up steam this week. And I think it's picking up steam this week because of last week's owners meetings. The reason why that is now catching right now is because I think people believe, based on hearing the comments from Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, that whole maybe there is some validity to the 49ers trying to potentially trade for another quarterback, trade one of their quarterbacks away, all that type of stuff. So it's starting to it was said about a month ago, but it's starting to pick up steam now because of the recent comments from the 49ers brass, right? So that's now back into the fold. So now we got Kirk Cousins, Kyle Shanahan rumors back, the never ending connection. Again, I can't fault Kyle Shanahan too much because his connection to Kirk Cousins is like my connection to Brian Burns, the way I like to think about it in my brain. Um, so there's always going to be an affinity there, but again, we'll see. And then what we found out today from a report from everyone reported it. I think Ian Rappaport reported it. I think Adam Schefter reported it. The New England Patriots have been shopping Mac Jones, meaning they have been calling up teams and saying, "Listen, we are willing and open to trading Mac Jones. Are you interested?" And right before I hopped on, this show was already made. You guys are waiting for me. We have a New England media person saying, well, the San Francisco 49ers and Patriots should just swap players. They should just, hey, we'll take Trey Lance off your hands and we'll give you Mac Jones. And they're rationalizing it in their head that it makes sense, right? They're in the same draft class. They're both first round draft picks. Trey Lance was third overall. Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler, has starting experience, even though he was the 15th overall pick. But again, for the 49ers to make that move, or excuse me, he's the 12th overall pick, where the 49ers originally were drafting from that slot. Just think, the 49ers trade Trey Lance to the Patriots, get Mac Jones in return, and effectively gave up a first round pick swap, two additional first round picks, and a third round pick for a guy that they could have sat in the 12 hole and taken. God, that would be such a it would just be such a bad trade. It would just be like obnoxiously bad because again, it's like a double down on like how bad the trade was to move up to 3. And it's like I know we already know it's starting to feel like uh uh just like not the best trade in the world, but like that feels like we're just raising our hand up, we're throwing up the white flag, that we're basically saying that was not a good trade. So again, it's just a wild scenario. We understand what it is, and the reason why we are talking about this is like why are we here? Why are the San Francisco 40? Why are we why do we have quarterback fatigue? Why are we constantly having to like again, I don't think there's a whole lot of validity to a lot of this stuff, but because it's being discussed in its nature, we kind of have to react to it as content creators because these aren't just nobodies saying this. These are guys that have platforms and large platforms, and there's a reason why I'm hearing it is because they have that platform. So it's up to me, at least I have that, distinction of trying to weed through as much of this stuff as possible. Is this real? Is this baloney? Because there are truths to some of these rumors that we hear, but there's also just speculation, and it's trying to decipher what are we talking about? Are we talking about speculation or are we talking about rumors? Uh Gammon says, okay, so this is interesting. Pat McAfee new video an hour ago. 49ers ready to trade for Rodgers if Jets can't close the deal. That's what basically that one Packers guy was talking about, but he didn't give any actual like sourced information. All it was just giving an opinion of what the 49ers should do, like if this were to happen. So that's I need to check this out. That's again, that's part of what we do here. I got to check that out. I got to go see what Pat McAfee's talking about because based on watching that particular clip, there's nothing's newsworthy that came out of that clip that was posted to Twitter. So, but if Pat McAfee's talking about it, then that needs to be something that I have to look into. So appreciate you, Gammon, for letting me know that because now I got some more digging to do after this. But the original question, right, was of this video is why are the San Francisco 49ers always connected to quarterbacks? Why is that the case? The answer is plain and simple, right? And I think we know what the answer is. The answer of why the San Francisco 49ers are always connected to quarterback rumors is because the San Francisco 49ers don't have a legitimate franchise guy that they fully have wrapped their arms around. Now Brock Purdy's the leader in the clubhouse. Well, we have Jimmy Garoppolo, but we're going to go ahead and trade up to 3 while we have Jimmy. The San Francisco 49ers had like a franchise quarterback for about a year. For about a year, from the end of 2017 through 2018 when we knew Jimmy was hurt. I would say 2019, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years. But the question started and the rumors started percolating after the Super Bowl. And that's when we had the Tom Brady situation. And then it's downhill from there. It's just been the wild, wild west out here. So I think two things can be true. I think the San Francisco 49ers, absolutely, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch should always be keeping the options open for improving every single position. And that's including the quarterback until they have an answer. I think they have an answer. I think they feel good about Brock Purdy and they feel pretty good about Sam Darnold. And I think there's some questions about Trey Lance and their belief in Trey Lance, which is why again all this stuff is kind of circulating around as well. Are the 49ers quietly trying to get rid of Trey? And that's what we're all just trying to discern, right? We're just trying to make sense. What is what? What is realistic? What is speculation? What is engagement drivers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the tough part about being a 49er fan and like being people like us. Like, if again, I say this all the time, if you're in my chat right now watching me rip this apart, that means you are just as much of a diehard fan as I am, meaning you want to know these answers. You want to get to the bottom of like what this is because although there is a lot of speculation and it's really easy to chalk it up to speculation, that's not always the case. There are plenty of rumors that do exist that can't come to be true because when you go back to the 2021 NFL draft, the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, called LaFleur on draft night to see if they would trade for Aaron Rodgers. And Kyle Shanahan admitted to this. So, Kyle on draft night, we heard the stories, right, of Kyle drawing the plays on a little napkin on the way from Justin Fields' pro days to Trey Lance's pro day. On draft night, Kyle called Matt LaFleur and said, "Hey, we will give you number 3 for Aaron Rodgers." And that created a whole bunch of drama between those two. So we have to we got to keep an open mind. So it is called smoke season for a reason because there's a lot of smoke, and the smoke feels like it's picking up a little bit, and it's always going to pick up before the draft. So we are less than a month away from the NFL draft. So get your masks on because the smoke is only going to get thicker and thicker and thicker. And we have to just be on alert. I don't necessarily believe the San Francisco 49ers are going to do anything, but that doesn't mean they aren't. If you believe they aren't going to do anything, that doesn't mean that they aren't. And so that's why when we see smoke, we kind of that's why we call ourselves the smoke chasers because we're chasing down the smoke and we're trying to discern, is this a 4 alarm fire? Do we ring the bells? Do we say, "Uh-oh, panic"? Or is this, "Oh no, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. That's not even smoke. It's water vapor." We try to discern what is what. And that's why it's called smoke season. And that's why we call ourselves the smoke chasers because we've been chasing down this smoke for years, trying to discern reports, rumors, speculation. And that's why the San Francisco 49ers right now are in the middle of it. The comments from the owners' meeting has opened up the floodgates of speculation. And then again, that report from Mike Florio and Chris Sims saying that league officials, not media, league, that means scouts, executives, coaches, all these guys talk at the combine. These guys are talking about that Kyle, Kirk heating up. That was before the owners' meetings about a month ago. The owners' meetings occur. Why is it gaining traction now, a month later? It's because after we heard those comments, people are believing that something could happen. And I'm saying like your Rappaports, like your guys like who are plugged in, who are connected. So again, it comes down to what is all of this stuff? What does it mean? What are we trying to understand? So, with the quarterback conversation, what we do understand is that it's not finalized. You've got Brock Purdy, you've got Sam Darnold, you got Trey Lance. Although I don't feel terribly bad about that quarterback room, I feel pretty good about that quarterback room. I don't know about you guys. Like, that's why you guys know me. If the San Francisco 49ers are really willing to make a monumental trade of that proportion to give up the capital that it would take to go get said player and then pay said player on top of it. So it's like it There's a lot of compensation involved. So, for example, if you look at Kirk Cousins' cap hit next season, his cap hit would be 20 million. So the 49ers would have to take on a cap hit of 20 million for Kirk Cousins and give up I would assume substantial somewhat substantial compensation to get him. Is it a first? Is it a second? Is it some futures? Like, what is it? Okay, well, now we're being told, oh, the San Francisco 49ers, they're ready to go after Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Well, from what we've heard, the the Packers have been looking the part of the reason why the deal hasn't got done yet is because the asking price that the Packers are looking for in regard to Aaron Rodgers. So what's the asking price to the San Francisco 49ers to stay in the NFC? What's that cost to stay in the NFC? And then how do the San Francisco 49ers, again, I'm not a cap expert and I will never pretend to be, but just looking at Spotrac and looking at the 2023 cap hit for Aaron Rodgers of $31 million, how do the 49ers justify trading compensation and then paying and having room? From my understanding, the San Francisco 49ers have less than 2 million in cap space right now. I understand Parag Marate, he can punch in some numbers on his Excel and it'll somehow generate 20 to 30 million dollars in cap space. I know he can do it. So, but again, that's where I come back to, how about we rock with this quarterback room this year? We rock with Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold. We've seen Brock Purdy have the level of success needed within this scheme to be able to win football games with what's been built around him. Now, we would hope that both Trey Lance and Sam Darnold could also have a similar type of success if they were asked. So again, that's where I'm like, well, if we're going to make a splash move, let's make a splash move and let's actually take advantage of these quarterbacks on cheap deals. Let's go get Brian Burns, baby. Like, seriously. If trading for Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers like is a potential, please make Brian Burns a potential. Please. Because I think you can get him for cheaper, less compensation, and all of a sudden you have the best defensive line in all of football. And what have I said? If you get Brian Burns and you put him on the opposite side of Nick Bosa, which now has Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead in the middle, a potato could play quarterback. It could happen. Do it. Get it. Get it done. Make it happen. Go get him. Go get Brian Burns. If you want to make a trade, go get Brian Burns. Make it happen. Pay Brian Burns $23.5 million on average. That would have him tied with fourth in the NFL as the highest paid pass rusher. You pay Nick Bosa 31.5 million. That has him the highest paid edge rusher in the NFL on average per year by like 3 or 4 million. He resets the market. Brian Burns gets paid, and you write out this rookie contract. I want it. I want it. Make it happen. If we're making a splash, let's go get the guy. Let's go get the boy. Let's go get BB. Come on. Make my dreams come true and go get BB. If we're really in the business of making splash trades, we're really trying to make that one move that would push the 49ers over the top. Kyle Shanahan has already proven that he can get it done with facilitators. He can get it done with point guards. Right? Yes, would having a Lamar Jackson, would having an Aaron Rodgers quarterbacking your offense be phenomenal? Absolutely it would. But I go back to 2019, the 13-3 season where the San Francisco 49ers were literally 10 minutes away from winning a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo, that was his first full season starting in the NFL. Yes, he'd been a journeyman and he's had some starts prior, but 2019 was Jimmy Garoppolo's first full season starting in the NFL, coming off an ACL injury. And boy, let me tell you, that offense was nothing special in 2019. That offense with your starting wide receivers of rookie Debo Samuel, Kendrick Bourne, Dante Pettis, you had Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert wasn't even the starter yet. Raheem Mostert was still a special teamer. George Kittle was just coming into his own as the elite tight end that he is. Well, now look at the offense. Well, now look at the defense. The San Francisco 49ers have shown us. They have shown us how they can destroy other teams with a dominating pass rush and a ball control offense. Jimmy wasn't we had to ask Jimmy to do it 4 times. We needed Jimmy on the last drive against the Steelers to drive us down the field and get us that win against, I think that was week 2. It's either week 2 or week 3 against the Steelers. We had the come from behind win with the Rams. We had the duel, Jimmy's probably best game ever, the duel against Drew Brees. And there was one other comeback game that we really needed Jimmy Garoppolo. Other than that, Jimmy was the epitome of kind of just managing the game. That's what he did that year. He managed the game. The San Francisco 49ers went 13-3 on the backs of a running back room. It wasn't one guy. Emmanuel Sanders traded for midway through the year. And it was on the backs of that defensive line. That defense that was, I think, had top ranks or at minimum top 5 ranks across the league. So that's where I'm like, I'm personally conflicted. Obviously, I wanted the San Francisco 49ers to make a splash and get a rookie, but we don't know if they believe that they got the right rookie. We don't know. It's TBD. Whether you believe in Trey Lance, whether you don't believe in Trey Lance, I think what we can all collectively agree that what we're sensing from the 49ers is at minimum it's TBD. We don't know. Could it go one way? Were Trey successful? Absolutely. Could it go the other way? Absolutely. We're kind of in that weird middle ground, which is why we're always being connected to all these rumors. So, yes, would it be great to get Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, but he's also 38. And he's at the stage of his career. I'm not gonna slander Aaron Rodgers. I'm not gonna do that. I still think Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal quarterback. So, yes, would Aaron Rodgers step in and help? Of course. But at what cost? And I'm assuming you're paying a premium for Aaron Rodgers. Yes, to get a quarterback, but it's not a long-term fix. Trading for a 38-year-old quarterback is not a long-term fix. So I don't love that idea. I love sustainability. I love the idea of being able to sustain this success. And Aaron Rodgers, is that the guy? Kirk Cousins, how old's Kirk Cousins? 34, 35. Why after one of Kirk Cousins' best statistical years are the Minnesota Vikings trying to get away from him? Technically, Kirk Cousins is under contract until he's 40 years old. He will be 35 this year. That means he's under contract until he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2024. So if the San Francisco 49ers traded for Kirk Cousins and his current contract, there would be a cap hit of 20 million in 2023, 28 million in 2024. There looks like it does drop into a natural out because then it goes to 10, 4, and 4 in the last 3 years of the deal, but still the next two $20 million cap hit, $28 million cap hit in 2024, which at the end of the day, that's not that big of a cap hit for a quarterback. But with how the 49ers have their roster constructed with CMC, Debo, Kittle, Ayuk needs to get paid, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, the list goes on and on, Javon Hargrave, it makes it more difficult, I would say, to like go after one of these guys that has a already big time contract that you didn't build the natural outs to fit your current roster, or you didn't construct to fit your current roster, so there'd be more stuff going down. Gammon says invite Jason Hurley on your show to discuss cap. Hey, might have to because it's definitely not my forte in regards to all that. The main point being is obviously the San Francisco 49ers are going to continue to be linked to quarterbacks until they have officially locked down their starting quarterback of the future. Until that franchise guy walks in through that door, we are going to be continuously talking about how the San Francisco 49ers could be in on that guy, could be in on this guy, or until the one of the guys currently on the roster just takes that job. Uh, so it'll be it'll be really fascinating, but I I hope that the 49ers stay cost controlled at quarterback. And if they're really trying to make a splash and they find the funds, go get a go get go complete the loop. Go find that next D Ford. Go find that next guy that you can plug in on the defense and you can wreak havoc on every single opponent that steps in front of you. That would be my way of going about it at this moment because that provides flexibility. That allows you to build the entire team. Yes, I understand that having a franchise quarterback is extremely important, and you look at the success across the league that a lot of these big time quarterbacks are having, especially the younger franchise quarterbacks. But that's not how the 49ers are built right now. The 49ers aren't built to be able to sustain all these star players and a like top 5 veteran quarterback because of the money that comes along with it. So, that's what I would like to see. Gammon says, looking at the current age and contracts on the 49ers, it gives the impression that the front office is giving this roster a 2-year window. Do you agree? Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. I would say this year, I do think I'm I'll say one, this window's open right now for sure. But I also think that's why we have to be somewhat discernible about some of these moves that are being discussed, because if the window is at minimum 1 year, I think you can make the case it's 2, but at minimum 1 year where they can win everything right now. So, you have to weigh it out. Long-term success, do we sell the house to be able to get a franchise quarterback that we think is gonna push us over the top now, and we deal with the ramifications later on down the road? Or do we try to do both? Sustain long-term success while building a roster that can compete right now. So, I would say I think after this year, there could be some big changes that potentially happen. Not like across the board changes, but I do think there could be a shift in regards to players that, kind of like what we saw this year. Like, Mike McGlinchey leaving. We saw a lot of like players that we've been accustomed to wearing red and gold, not wearing red and gold anymore. So I still think that potentially could happen next year. But I also do believe that the 49ers have an opportunity to win right now. Their window is open right now, and they have to get it done for sure. But I appreciate the super chats, Gammon. But anyways, it's like I know you guys have quarterback fatigue, just like I have quarterback fatigue. But again, the what I keep talking about, it's like we have to understand the process that's in front of us. And the process that's in front of us is that until that is figured out, until those questions have been put to rest, uh, they're going to be at the forefront of these conversations. They're going to be at the forefront of, trying to understand like what is going on. Like why is it this way? Why are we still here? Why isn't this working? It's just where we're at. It's the nature of where we're currently at. So it's a tough spot to be in, right? Because the 49ers have, and like, see, that's why I still don't think this is viable, because look at the entire team. I think it's really easy for people to focus on the quarterback and the questions that are still at quarterback since Kyle Shanahan has taken over. But look at the staff that Kyle Shanahan has put together. Look at the general, like the front office executives that Kyle has put together. Remember, Kyle was hired first. Kyle is, from everything that I understand, he is technically has the final say on pretty much everything. And so you can't have this phenomenal coaching staff that just produces head coaches. You can't have this phenomenal front office that just produces general managers. You can't have this roster that still doesn't know who the quarterback is, yet is widely regarded and just common knowledge that the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFL. The only reason they're not ahead of the Chiefs is because the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and a good offensive line and Travis Kelsey and Isaiah Pacheco and Kadarius Toney, and the list goes on and on. So people want to fire Kyle Shanahan, but they never have the succession plan. What is your succession plan to Kyle Shanahan? Everyone wants everyone's trying to emulate what Kyle Shanahan is doing. Just because Kyle Shanahan isn't perfect, hasn't been able to get over the hump, he was that close from doing it, but that to me isn't justification for firing someone. Like Kyle to me hasn't done anything that has warranted him being fired. Just because some people are upset that there's still questions at the quarterback position, Trey Lance, we don't know what's going on there, like, or what's going on really at all with the quarterback, and now there's all these questions, and that makes people upset and kind of want to just move on. But what is the succession plan? There, who's coming in here? Because you're getting rid of all these coaches, you're getting rid of all this front office, you're getting all rid of all the support staffs. It's a complete turnover. You're not just getting rid of one guy. You're getting rid of all the guys. And then what do new general managers and coaches do? They clean house. They get rid of everyone that's here. So all these people that are here, you have to rationalize you're firing them too. You're firing all that front office. You're firing all these coaching staffs. Uh, the Chris Kosarex. You're firing him. He's gone. Chris Forster, he's gone. Bye-bye. Like all these, it's everyone. It's not one person. The players that are here, gone. So be careful what you wish for, because that's why the firing conversation is just, you can critique Kyle. You can disagree with Kyle. You can say, I don't like how he's handling this quarterback situation. I don't like how he manages his play calls. I don't like how he executes in late in games or in these situations. You can have those critiques, but that doesn't mean he should be fired, because it could be a whole lot worse than Kyle Shanahan. We got it pretty damn good with Kyle Shanahan. If you think Kyle should be fired, I really don't think you understand what you're saying. I really don't. I don't think like it registers what firing a head coach means, especially the head coach that is in charge of all of football operations. That means all the things that you love about this team, those are getting fired as well. So just be prepared. That means if you're firing Kyle, you're blowing it up. You are getting your it's a reset, not a retool, it's a reset. So get ready to go back to the dark days of San Francisco 49ers football, where we were praying for a win, a singular win, and all that type of stuff. So it's definitely more nuanced than just that. Uh oh god. We can have players retiring on us again. We can have a mass exodus of all the players that we want retiring on us. Jeez, man. Yeah, I don't want to live through that again. But again, two th- both things can be true. Firing Kyle Shanahan can be an absolute fool's errand, but you can also critique Kyle Shanahan without saying like he should be fired. Both things can be true. I don't think Kyle's perfect as a coach. I still think Kyle has improvement and can continue to develop. He's still a pretty young head coach in the grand scheme of things, early 40s. How old's Andy Reid? How long has Andy Reid been at this thing? Like Andy Reid's got decades on Kyle. I would rather have Kyle continue his process with the 49ers because if and when we finally get over that mountaintop and this fan base gives him the leash to just do what he wants to do and not nitpick everything because of the mistakes of the past, then we have an opportunity to really build something and really just trust in him. I can understand why people have a hard time trusting him, but I also from the global perspective of what Kyle does, I have all the trust in the world that he's going to put us in the best situation possible. Like I don't love how Kyle has managed this quarterback situation. Like I wouldn't have done it that way. I'm on record saying it throughout the last 2-3 years. I wouldn't have done some of the things that I have perceived. And again, we don't know the whole story. That's the other part of it. Is like we're providing opinions based on what we see, and what we see isn't everything. There's so much that goes on behind closed doors in that locker room in the day to day that we have no clue. We think we know, we don't know. So we're just trying our best. And Kyle to me hasn't done anything that is fireable. I think Kyle has been pretty damn good for what he's been able to accomplish, um, and all that type of stuff. And I love how people use nepotism against Kyle. Like, n- you can make the case that Kyle is such a great coach because he was born in it. I think it's hilarious when people try to use that against him. Kyle's life has been football since he was a kid. There's a reason why. There's a reason why when like a scouting trait that people talk about is he's a coach's son. There's a reason why. There's a you go down the list of like, oh, he can bench this, he can run this, he can do that. He's a coach's son. There's a reason why that being a coach's son is regarded as value in football circles. There's a reason. And the fact that people use the fact that his dad is in it and he grew up in it against him is honestly hilarious to me. Does nepotism does that help you get opportunities? Of course it does. Like what what is like the saying in life? It's like it's not I don't even know what it is. It's like whatever. It's not it's not what you know, it's who you know. Is that the saying? Is that it? It's not what you know, it's who you know. Uh the same goes for like, what you grew up in. I would much prefer a guy who grew up in this life than I think that's a positive. We'd become the laughing stock of the league if we fired Kyle. 3 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. I get it. People want results. It's a result driven business. They don't love they don't love the fact that we haven't gotten over the mountaintop yet. But yeah, we would be. And it would not get better after that. Boxing fan says deep playoff runs don't cut it anymore. He has zero accountability. Traded a lot for Trey to give up so fast on him. How many years are we going to keep on saying we're Super Bowl ready and not get it done? Um, we're going to say that we are Super Bowl ready every year that we're Super Bowl ready. And I don't know if this is like a shocker to some, but in heading into 2023, With the San Francisco 49ers having question marks at quarterback, they are still Super Bowl ready. Why are they Super Bowl ready? Because of the team and the staff that Kyle Shanahan has constructed. Now, I don't think Kyle Shanahan does it all himself. I do think it is a collaborative effort. But just like we know in anything, if you are the head honcho, you get a lot of the criticism and you also get a lot of the applause as well. But deep playoff runs don't cut it anymore. I would have to disagree with you there. He has zero accountability. I don't I don't know specifically what that means. Um, Traded a lot for Trey to give up so fast on him. Yes, they traded up a lot to get Trey, and that is something that the 49ers are currently working through. And they understand that if they give up on Trey, that's going to make the trade look really bad. But how many more years are we going to keep saying we're Super Bowl ready and not get it done? Do you recognize that winning the Super Bowl is really hard? Do you know there are entire franchises in the NFL that have never won a Super Bowl? Like, guys, it doesn't have to be like what's the standard here? The standard is winning the Super Bowl every single year. Of course, that's the ultimate goal. But how is that the standard? How is playing 20 games in an NFL year the standard for like a team that clearly doesn't have a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a quarterback at that spot, but instead has done it kind of in reverse. They built the entire roster around it, right? They've been not everyone is going to do it the same way. But I don't know, man. Like I can't get behind like this to me feels a little like I'm trying to say this in a way because I'm really not trying to be disrespectful to boxing fan because I like boxing fan quite a bit. My guy's been in my streams for a long time. So I'm trying to say this respectfully and really not I'm not coming at you specifically. I want to make that crystal clear. But I do think this type of mentality, it kind of feels a little bit spoiled. Does that make sense? Y- do you know what I mean? Like it's like prefacing something that is so difficult to obtain, but yet that's the expected standard. That's where like I have a hard time with it. Like being in position to win a Super Bowl, just building that team is hard in of itself. Getting a staff, getting a front office, sustaining that. People can get to Super Bowls in a one-off, but sustaining that for years over roster turnover in a league that's control and constantly going up in price with players and all that type of stuff. That's really hard to consistently sustain. Um, so I think we get to like a current milestone. It went from Kyle took over, the 49ers went 0-9, and then we got our first win, and we were hyped off their first win. Then Jimmy comes in, 5 wins in a row. all right, we see where this is going. Then 2018, Jimmy gets hurt in the third game. Whole season goes to crap. They don't win a lot of games. 2019 comes back around. Jimmy Garoppolo gets his first full year as a starter. The San Francisco 49ers, with really like missing on some draft picks and all that type of stuff, they go 13-3. And they were 10 minutes away from winning the Super Bowl. Now, if you want to critique Kyle for that, that's on you. You can do that, but that's still really hard to do. And then 2020 hits, decimated by injury, absolutely decimated in a COVID year with not normal circumstances. Uh, and 2020 goes to crap. Okay. 2021 comes back around. They trade up to go get Trey Lance. They keep Jimmy, and Kwaski gets that interception. 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. 2022, Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt. Who knows what happens last year? Who knows? And then to kind of be out on Kyle after that run, it feels like, and then saying it's not good enough anymore, like going deep into the playoffs isn't good enough. It's like, man, it's not easy doing any of that. Like from where Kyle started, completely turning over the roster, building it, missing and hitting. It's a combination of both. Missing on draft picks, hitting on draft picks, and then putting them in position to now the San Francisco 49ers are heading into this season ready to compete for another championship. I feel good, even regardless of the situation going on with the quarterback. Like, I, if you want to be mad at Kyle for the Trey Lance situation, sure, I guess. But, um, because like as you guys know, like I liked Trey. I didn't want Mac Jones. I wanted Justin Fields. Now, I'm not jumping back into the hindsight 2020 machine and being like, oh, the 49ers should this or that or the other thing. But it's like, even I, as someone who the 49ers didn't follow my plan for success, I wanted CeeDee Lamb. The 49ers drafted Javon Kinlaw. I wanted the 49ers to take Justin Simmons, and they took Brandon Ayuk. I wanted Justin Fields. They took Trey Lance. Like the 49ers, I wanted Deshaun Watson in 2017. They took Solomon Thomas. So it's not like the San Francisco 49ers have sat here and done absolutely everything that I thought they should do. They haven't. They've actually, quite honestly, done the opposite in a lot of scenarios. But even in still doing things that I wouldn't have done, but again, I'm not running a franchise. I'm sitting in front of you on YouTube. I can still understand what they're doing. I can still understand like the process that has got him here, going out and trading for Christian McCaffrey. So, long story short, uh I don't know how this turned on. I guess I do know how, but uh it, this isn't this isn't this isn't a computer program where variables are predictable. Like variables constantly come up. Things constantly change. Things constantly evolve. That's the one thing about football. And it's like things that you think you have under control aren't under control. And to be able to maneuver and find success consistently in a world like that, I don't think people give enough credit to what it means to have that type of success consistently in that type of world where you can't just put in an algorithm and everything just, hey, it works and this is what we do. Constantly got to evolve, constantly got to adapt. So based on all of that fun conversation, I still think the San Francisco 49ers are ready to do some work this year. And whether that means they're going to go get and trade for one of these big name quarterbacks, or they stick with the three quarterbacks that they have and they ride it out with a cost controlled quarterback room and potentially try to see how they can improve in other areas. I think the San Francisco 49ers are in a pretty good pretty good spot. So it's not all going to be perfect. It's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows. But at the end of the day, I still like where the San Francisco 49ers are at, regardless if there have been misses and there are questions. And that's where I see the optimism in it all. So we got PTSD in the chat. Facts. But keep your heads up, guys. Don't get too down in the dumps. I think at this point, let's just like, man, what are we surprised about? We're not really surprised. Some people are angry. Some people want results. Some people want answers, and that's why they're angry, is because they feel like the answers are right there in front of them and they did something else. And now they're like, oh, you didn't do what I said you should do. But it's like, come on. At the end of the day, they've made a lot of right decisions. They've done a lot of good things. They've put and positioned themselves to be a Super Bowl team, which is a positive. Now, just got to take the next step. Got to get it done. Got to win it. And that also takes a little bit of luck and things falling the right way. We almost had it, but almost doesn't cut it. So, we'll see. We'll see, man. Uh I think that's good for today. That turned into a little bit of a spicy one, but I'm okay with it. It's a spicy time. Hey, if you want to be a fan of the San Francisco 49ers, thick, get that thick skin, baby, because there's going to be speculation. There's going to be people saying that the 49ers should fire their head coach, all kinds of stuff. So we're here. We've been here, and we'll continue to remain here. But it's a fun time to be a San Francisco 49er fan and just wait. Just wait. We got the draft coming up. We got OTAs. Then we're going to have the preseason. We're going to have training camp preseason. Just wait. Just wait until training camp. Training camp is going to be fire. Quick question to why Kirk and Rodgers, but not Lamar? He's younger. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know. Is it because it's two firsts? I don't know. Again, I don't know what the whole like exclusive rights franchise tag means in its entirety. I don't know if it means it has to be a first rounder in this draft and a first rounder in that draft, and that's why it's a non-topic. I don't know. I can't honestly. I would assume that has something to do with it because their first round picks are in 24 and 25. And because they don't have a 23 and 24, that's why it doesn't work. That would be my assumption. But again, that's an assumption. I don't know the answer to that. And again, it hasn't been crystal clear on what his contract demands have been either. So again, but in regardless, all three quarterbacks carry a price tag of not only trading for in regards to compensation, but cap hit and money going out. So I don't know. I feel like the 49ers, I feel like Kyle getting Kirk kind of takes care of the what did I say? Kyle getting Sam takes care of the Kirk itch. I think, it's been Sam and it's been Kirk. I think Kyle's liked both of them for quite some time. Kyle gets Sam for cheap, and I think that is sufficient enough. But we're going to find out. Still plenty of time to come up before the draft. Clearly, as you can see, the San Francisco 49ers are going to be linked to any potential quarterback on the move. And so we have to decide, is this a rumor? Is this real? What's it going to be? So I would say 3 more weeks, or 4 more weeks. About a little less than 4 more weeks of all this fun talk. So strap in, ladies and gentlemen. We're just getting started. Appreciate everyone as always for tapping in. And whether you love what the 49ers doing or you don't, I still love you and appreciate all you guys' support on the channel and everything as always. Shout out to my guy, Boxing. Appreciate you, my guy. All that good stuff. But love you all. I'm out of here for now. Grab your cookies on the way out. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.